Blink Detector Android app by using Mediapipe library. And in the previous video we already learned how to create basic example apps by using Mediapipe, and in this video we are going to use those same example apps to modify in a ways that we can use for our own applications. So in case you don't know how to install this Mediapipe and get this Mediapipe folder, you can watch the previous video. We installed it on Linux system. So if you come in this Mediapipe, you already should have this folder. If you have installed it and followed the previous video, you should have this Mediapipe folder, and inside this Mediapipe there should be another Mediapipe, and then inside examples and then Android, just go in there. So these are the example apps which you can build by using Mediapipe. I'll just come to it in a bit, but before I want to talk about basics about build file, what are build and what is Bazel. So we are going to use Bazel library to build our file, not Android Studio Gradle, and Android Studio is actually using Gradle to build or convert or create .apk file. Another way you can use is Bazel. I guess there is a way to use Bazel in Android Studio, but that might be experimental to do. So another way you can build by using Bazel, and we have already installed Bazel in the previous video. And if you want to know about Bazel, how to build file, how to build basic file, I would highly recommend you to watch this. This would just take 5 or 10 minutes to learn about this. So Bazel basically have their build files, and you should have this build file in every folder, and that build file is basically responsible for telling Bazel where are the files located, like where is main activity, where is manifest, where are the resources available, and all of that. And this basic app is being used by all of these other applications in a way that we are extending this main activity in the other main activities. Also, you will see that we only have this one resource and manifest. This is because we are using this same basic in all of them. And in this video we are going to use this basic and face mesh GPU folders to modify in a way that we can create our iBlink Detector Android app. Alright, so this basic app is basically the backbone. It is just you have to use it in case you want to use Mediapipe. This is like the backbone of every application. It is just simply taking in the frame, processing it, and giving the output and showing on the display. Let us have a look what is going on inside. In case you want detailed explanation about this, there is already a page by Mediapipe official documentation. I will leave this in down description. You can actually go through this. If you go through all of this page, you don't need to go through this because they also explained how to build files using Bazel, and they have already explained each and every single line of this main activity under the basic folder. I'm just going through the basics. So first of all, we take the camera permissions you see over here, then we grab the frame. So once the user gives the permission, it jumps to onResume function, and in that onResume we actually get the frame, and that frame is converted to a supported type so that it can be sent for prediction to the frame processor, which is declared over here. So this frame processor takes in the frame and applies the graph. Graph is basically like model. Applies the graph and gives the output, and this is input stream and then output stream, and that is all happening in this callback over here. So when the surface is created, it is shown on the screen using this line. When the surface is changed, when the frame is changed, it is recalculated by using this line. When the user quits the application, it is just destroyed by using this line. So this is just the basic code, not much going on in over here, but that is the basic and that is the base code. You have to use this in every application. Okay, so this is the one main activity, and let's go back to our face mesh GPU and let's open this main activity, and we are going to use this main activity, and we are going to do all of our work in this main activity of face mesh GPU and finally make the iBlink Detector app. But before, we want to know how to access the detected coordinate values. Yes, that is basically a basic app. You can see on the screen, it is just going to print the dots and just preview it on the screen. Nothing much is going on. But how to access the values? If you see this code very deeply, you would see that we are actually logging the values over here. You see that landmark.x, landmark.y, landmark.z for every landmark point on our face. And one thing over here, this num faces equals to 1. This is responsible for only applying or processing only single phase. if you just change this to 2, it will going to process 2 faces at a time. Okay, so that is how you can do that, but I'm just going to get rid of all the logs we are making so that it can look more cleaner. Okay, so this function, we are actually not using it. We are only using this to log the values. So currently only by using this line we can access the coordinate values. It is so easy to access. Let me just show you how. Let's just create a float, private float. Let me just say this random rand. So for accessing the values, let's say rand. For accessing the values, you see that this is a list of normalized landmark list, and the number of faces you have, it is going to have the same size of list. So currently we have only single face. So first of all, I'll just use this multi-face landmark and get the first face, whatever you process or detect, just get the first face, and then in that you can call get landmark. So in that you can just simply call get landmark list, and now this will be the list of all the coordinate values. Let me just show you one thing. So you see over here, this is just same to this. You can actually now access all the coordinate, all the single key point, whatever it has detected, every landmark value. But now the main the challenge is how to know that if I want to access this particular landmark, I want to access the y value of this landmark. How do I know that which index, what index does this landmark have? That is the main challenge. Well, it is so easy to solve. Actually, I just wrote this Python script over here. Now using the Python, obviously I have explained how to do this in Python, and using just few lines of code, I am able to make this. Let me just show you. So I was able to make this. I was able to convert all the dots to particular index value. So the one we are interested in accessing, like 386 and 373, we can calculate the height, and if that height gets smaller than some threshold value, we can say that it is blinked. Though there are some problems in that, I will talk about them, but that is how you can get the index values. So if you want to use this particular file, I will just leave the code for this also in down description. So let us say I want this 386 value. So in that I can say .get 386, and now I have the access to this particular key point or landmark. I can just say get x to get the x value. I can say get y to get the y value. I can say get z to get the depth, the z value. But now there is another problem in that. So the problem is basically that the coordinate values are normalized or scaled to 0 to 1 only, but we want the values to be between depending on the footage, like 1920 by 1080. We actually want that coordinate value. So for scaling them, we can just basically multiply the x with the width of the screen, let's say 1080, and multiply the y with the height of the screen, meaning 1920. So we can just do it like that. So now we have the access to the coordinate values, and now we can create our own algorithm and access the values and apply that algorithm on that and just get the result. So let's now discuss how you can create the Blink Detector app. Now you know how to access the coordinate value. Now we just one step away from accessing only the required key points and then applying the calculations on it, and then finally making the Android app. So let us look at that. Alright, so here I am in drawing. Let me just change the color quickly. Alright, so here we are in drawing. Now look, as I said that we can access this coordinate value, and this coordinate value we can calculate the height by just getting the y value and then subtracting from each of them, and we can get this height as h, and if that h gets smaller than particular threshold value, we can say that I is blinked, otherwise I is not blinked. But there is a problem in that. If the user is close to the camera, obviously this height will be greater. If the user gets away from the camera, this height will be smaller. So that is actually problematic. How you can actually get the global or constant value of threshold? How you can do that? Well, it is so easy. By using simple mathematics, we can actually take, let's say, these two stationary points, let's say 5 and 4. We can get these 2 points and calculate the height of this, and instead of directly applying the threshold value on this, we can do this with respect to this, because this is not going to change when eye is blinked or eye is not blinked. This particular height is not going to change. So we can do this with respect to something. So obviously when now user gets close to the camera, this height will also going to increase and this will also going to increase. So overall, when we calculate the ratio, there will be no impact. If user gets away from the camera, this will reduce and this will reduce. When we calculate the ratio, overall nothing will going to change. So I hope you might be able to understand what I want to interpret to you. So we are going to get this 386, 373, 5 and 4, these 4 values, only y value. We will calculate height of both of them and then calculate the ratio, and just calculate, just apply some threshold, let's say 0.6, and if that calculation or ratio gets smaller than 0.6, we can say that eye is blinked, otherwise eye is not blinked. So let's do that. Okay, so now let's step forward and let's create our 4 variables. I'll say ry1 and ry2, and then actual y1 and actual y2. So ry1 will be this one, ry2 will be this one, ay1 will be this one, ay2 will be this one. So let's get these values. So let's first fill these 5 and 4 quickly. ry1, let's copy and paste it over here. So we want to access 5 and 4, right? So 5 and 4, and similarly, don't forget to add this semicolon in Java. Let's do this for ay1 and ay2. And for ay1 and ay2, we have this 373 and 386. So 373 and 386. Yeah, that's it. Now we have the access to these particular values. Now we can simply calculate the height and calculate the ratio. Let's create another variable over here. Let's say ratio. And I guess you have to use this F and F over here. Okay, so as I said, ratio will be going to height divided by height. So first of all, we can do it either way, either this respect to this or this respect to this. I'll do this respect to this. So first of all, we'll say ay2 minus ay1, because 373 will be larger than 386. So it should be ay1 actually. I'm sorry about that. So ay1 minus ay2 divide by 4 minus 5. So for 4 it is ry2. So ry2 minus ry1. Let me just double check that. Yeah, that's it. So we have now ratio. And before calculating the threshold, actually I will just show it on a text view. So let's just quickly create a text view over here. So first of all, we have to make import from Android dot, I guess it's widget, a view. Yeah, from Android view import text view. And don't forget to add the text view in the layout file. So let's get back to this. In the basic, then resources, and then values, and this, not values, actually layout, and main activity.xml. And in that, let's add a text view. I'll just copy this one and paste it over here. Let's change the ID to, let's say, TV, and string will be initially starting. So yeah, we can just access this text view in over here by just simply saying let's declare this text view over here by saying private text view. Let's call this TV, and we can just initialize it by saying TV equals to find view by ID, and ID is r.id.tv. Remember, TV we given over here, this TV. So we have just created this text view, and finally we'll say tv.set text, this ratio. Make sure to convert this to string. Yeah, that's it. Let me just see if we haven't made any problem in any error. Yeah, everything looks good. Let's do one thing. Let's try building this app and see if that works or not. So I have already told you we want to build this face mesh app. Let's copy the path from this second Mediapipe. Let's copy it and open the terminal, change the directory to Mediapipe, and you have to say Bazel build and paste this path, and you have to give colon and again say face mesh GPU. That's the name of that build file. Let's hit enter and let's just see if we get any error or not. Okay, we got an error. Actually, it's not view, it's widget import android.widget. Let's run this, and yeah, it is built. Now for installing, you can just simply install by using two ways. I already told you in the previous part, and again I'm going to tell you. So if we talk about file, where is the APK is located, let's go back to Mediapipe, and in the Bazel bin, and then Mediapipe, and then again example Android. Let's get inside that. Yeah, so in that, in the folder face match GPU, there is a .apk file, this over here. Either you can copy this file to your phone and install it, or the way I like by using ADB, you can just copy the path. Make sure to not take that Mediapipe from the Bazel bin. Let's copy the path. You have to say ADB install and just paste the path over here, and the file name is facematchgpu.apk. Let's hit enter, and you should have your phone connected, and USB debugging should be enabled, and it will just install. Wait a minute, your phone might be alerted to install with a window of install or deny. You can click install and it is success. Let's try opening the app and see if that works or not. Okay, so I'll open this app on my phone, and you have to actually close and open actually 2 or 3 times. Okay, so finally it is running, and you see that in the middle of the text is so small. Just try to look at that, and if I close my right eye, you see that the value gets so small, and if I open it gets large, if I close it gets small, if I open it gets large. You see that now using that you can actually get the threshold value, like from which the value is reducing. If I close my eye, you see that it is 0.7 something. If I open, it is 1. So we can set the threshold to actually around 0.8. It should work pretty fine. Yeah, 0.8 should work fine. So let's get back to the screen and do that. Alright, so the app is running successfully, and the ratio threshold we set is about 0.8. So we can say if ratio gets smaller than 0.8, you have to just try these values again and again. You can just simply just copy this, cut this out, paste over here, and you can simply say I is blinked. And if that is not the case, we can just simply say I is open. Alright, so actually that is all you can do, and now you can just change the layout, add the images. I'll just show you how to do that. Don't worry about that. But that is actually how you can do everything. It is so simple to access the key point values and just make this Android app. Now this should be able to detect our eye blinked or not. But how to add the images, how to change the layout, let's see about that. Okay, so the best thing I like to make while making this layout is to do that in Android Studio. So let's open the Android Studio, and you can create new project with any name. I'll just call it test. Okay, so this should open something like this, and you can click on activity main.xml over here and come to the top right side and click on split right over here, and get back to our Sublime. And remember, we have this activity main.xml. Let's copy all the code and change all the code over here. Let's Control A and paste over here. Yeah, that's it. Just click on split. Okay, so you can see that we have our design over here. Now you can just actually select the elements and try making some changes. That's why I prefer using Android Studio. So if I just select this text view, which is responsible of showing eyes blinked or not, and I click on search, first thing I'll do is changing the size. The size I'll set to 24 sp, and the next thing I'll just take this thing to the top of the screen. So I will change this to wrap content initially. There is some problem while using wrap content, I'll tell you, and I'll just add the constraint with the parent and vertically also with the parent, and yeah, that's it. Let's actually change the style to bold. That's totally on you. I'm just making it to look better. And let's change the color also. I'll prefer using green. Yeah, that is it actually. Now it should work. It should look pretty good. But how to add the images? Yeah, how to add images. So let's see about that. Adding the images is actually not a big deal at all. Let me just show you. I just forgot to add this code. Let's click on code, and again copy all the code and replace all the code of your previous opened in Sublime. Just paste it and hit save. That's it. Yeah, I was telling you that there would be some problem while using wrap content, this would make your app getting crashed again and again. I don't know why, but actually you will have to be specific with your height and width. So let's click on split, and instead of using wrap content, prefer giving it actual height and width, how much you want. So let's say the width will be match parent, that will going to match the parent whatever the width is, and for the height I'll just choose 50 dp. I guess this should be enough. This is much more, 30 dp. Yeah, that's it. So you should have to be specific. Let's again copy the code and paste the code over here. Yeah, now the only thing left is to add the images. So how to do that? Let's get rid of this. So yeah, for adding the images you have to go in basic folder, then resources, and then drawable, and just copy the images, whatever images you have. I have in pictures and it is named with eyes. Now it's in downloads, I'm sorry about that. Icons, yeah, these both images, I'll just copy them and paste them in the drawable. And to access these values, to change the image view, to add the image view, how to do that? Let's see. So inside this face mesh main activity, let's first add the image view. Okay, so first of all you have to import image view, and similarly let's create a variable of image view. I'll just call it imgv and initialize it. Let's copy this also, and I'll just call this imgv and id. Just wait a minute, we'll create image view in our layout also. Wait a minute, I'll just call it image view. And for changing the image you can simply say imgv dot set drawable. It's a fairly big line. Yeah, you can say imgv dot set image drawable, and you have to give the name of your file. So in our case it's eyes close and eyes open. Make sure you spell them right. So when eye is blinked, I will just make the image eyes closed, and I will copy and paste, and then over here I'll say eyes open. Yeah, the only thing left is to add the image view in our main.xml. Let's get back to the Android. This is my main.xml. Let's get to design and add the image view. Let's add the image view over here, and initially I'll choose this image. You can choose whatever, it doesn't matter at all. And as I told you that be specific with the layout, height and width. For width I'll say match parent, and for height I'll say 100 dp. That should be enough. Yeah, this looks good. And adding the constraints, don't forget about that. Adding horizontal with parent, and then I'll just add this in the bottom. Now with this, if you run it like this, the image should not be shown because it is under this preview display view, and this is taking the whole screen. And I guess this text view should also not be visible. So you have to either add in the top of this preview display, just add this, or you can add this in preview display itself. It should work in the either way. You can also actually change the preview display height and width by just resizing it, something like that. Yeah, that's it. Now let's try copying the code, and make sure if you see this image view, you see that id is image view, it should be same. Let's copy the code and paste the code over here, and I guess everything looks good. And again, build and install the app. Let's build the file and install, and we got no error. Yeah, so it is success, it is installed. Let's get back to my Android device and see if it is running or not. Okay, so finally you can see that if I close my eye, you can see that it is working pretty good, but there are some efficiency issues. I'll talk about it. Let's get back to my screen now. So we are back on our screen. First thing I would like to change is get back to design. Okay, so I made a mistake. Actually the top is overlapped by the below, so you have to add it to the last over here, so that it just get over to the screen, so that are you getting my point? So it should get over to the preview display view. If you add it in the top or back of preview display view, it will going to get back of this preview display view. So that is the reason why these eyebrows are getting overlapped by the camera preview. So let's get back to code and copy this code, and not over here, actually in the main main.xml, add this code over here. Now again, feel free to change whatever changes you want to make. Just change this preview display view in case you want, change this image view in case you want. So that's all depend on you, however you want it to be look like. So let's close this Android Studio because the work of this is now over. Next thing I want to talk about is efficiency issues. Actually, if you see that if the ratio gets smaller than 0.8, it means that my eyes are closed. There is no need to updating again and again the same thing. My eyes blinked, eyes blinked, eyes blinked. Or if my eyes are open, let's say for 2 seconds, there is no need to again and again update that eyes open and set the image, eyes open and set the image. There is no need to do that. So actually there is a very good way to get rid of that by making Boolean variables. Let me just do that. So we can create two variables, eye blinked and eye open, and let's initialize them, both of them to true. Okay, so eye open and eye blink, both of them are true, and we can say that if ratio gets smaller than 0.8, we can say if eye blinked is equals to true, it will be automatically. We can say that okay, if the ratio is smaller and eye is blinked, which means that it is true, and we can set the text and set the image, and we will set it to false now. So eye blinked will be false, and we will change this eye open back to true. And same thing we will do in this else part. When the eye is open, we can say if eye open, and in that we can just do this, and finally just swap this variable. Let's just copy, and eye open will become false and this will become true. Yeah, that's it. So I hope you should be getting my point, what I'm trying to say. So it will going to only update once when eye is open, only going to update once when eye is blinked, only going to update once. So this is going to increase the speed. And what else can we make? Yeah, one thing I want to show you, get back to basic, then build, not build, in the face mesh GPU. Let's open this build file, and yeah, over here you see that camera facing front. Now in case you want to change the back camera, you can just set this value to false, then it will going to do everything with the back camera. If you want front camera, you can set it to true, as it is default by default. Let's try running this app once again to see everything is running fine or not, and after that I will shut this video off and I'll get back to you again in the next video. So the build is successful and installed by using adb install. Hit enter and it should install. So it is installed. Let's get back to my Android device and see if it is running or not. So the first problem, the eye is no longer overlapped with the video, and if I close my eye, so you can see that it is running pretty good. And I guess I should end this video over here, and in the next video we might make different projects by using Mediapipe. So that's it, bye.